Good morning, or whatever it is for you. Let's take these off. Yeah, my hair is a mess. It's getting too long. Hopefully Wednesday. But today, I want to talk so much more about the work and diabetes. It's so hard to talk about a lot of times. We go under the impression that, oh, I can't tell anyone. I've got to keep things secret. But, that may work for a type 2. But for us type 1s, I can remember at work at first trying to hide things. There were times I'd be low and I'd be so worried that I couldn't eat. Because, everything's counted in the store. Rightfully so. I mean, come on. But if I have a low, my tendency is sugar. And that's every diabetic. Get sugar in. But some of these things I've mentioned before, but we're just going to consolidate them here. First of all, if you're at work and you're working away in a type 1 and suddenly you have a low experience. I can remember going to meetings before I would let people know, and I'd sit there and go, blah, 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 blah. And in my mind I thought I was giving great talks. But you know what? No, you weren't. My mind went completely blank. And it's always sort of, well, if I could just shut up as soon as you realize it, and I'll just be quiet enough until a break comes. I'll race and get a Coke, and then I'll be fine. But then I started having low blood sugar problems. And looking back at things now, yes, I should have told my boss that I'm a diabetic. 2, someone else in my unit of work, I guess you call it, should have let them know. And I can remember at work, I had 2 come to mind, but I had one very low blood sugar. And for some reason I kept doing this, with my right hand, so we'll do this side, yeah. And I kept going, my bracelet, it keeps, and I moved my camera just so you could get the feeling of, and next thing I know, I passed out. And I didn't have a plan at work. I kept all my diabetes knowledge up here. And it wasn't until I went through a kidney issue that my doctor said, well, maybe you should let people know at work. And so I let our department secretary know beside my boss. And for me, they were super. I had support, and even before I told my secretary receptionist that I had diabetes, I had a low, and then after she came up to me and said, Well, if you weren't feeling well, why didn't you tell us? And it's kind of like, you don't know. I can't. And I see videos now of people who have like a diabetes drawer at their desk where they have portioned out control of stuff to bring you out of a low. And I'm thinking, God, I could have done that. Duh. I worked for a convenience store chain. You think I could get some candy? I never had anything. I can remember being high at work and just sort of dragging. And that was worse because it's kind of like it was the end of the day. And really, I should have just gone home and slept and got some insulin. I never brought insulin to work. I took my insulin in the morning and took it in the afternoon. And I got a pump while I was there, and it freed me up so much more. But I had done a video on this where I went through a period of being a diabetic jerk. And what I mean by this is I kind of shunned away from good diabetes care. Oh, God. And when I started getting back into it, I suddenly started to realize how much better things can happen if people know. And I have people just write notes from other departments in the building and just write notes, put it on my desk saying, you can do this, you're great. And just knowing that if I had an issue, people would help. And you've got to think, why is that? Why do we feel that we don't want anyone to know? Because, they'll overlook me for a job because I'm a diabetic. Well, in fact, they can't. And we had a fairly strong human resources department. And, you talk to other people and say, oh, well, the human resources department did nothing. But they did so much more. And when I went on to other jobs, I suddenly realized how much a good human resources can help. And when I got severely sick with a kidney issue, because people knew, the company said, okay, you're going into surgery. I had my secretary call, she was off that day, had my secretary call me. I had, when I was in the hospital after surgery, I had the head of the Canadian division come and see me. And, it was just great. And I think I healed a lot better knowing that I had support. And a lot of diabetics seem to shun away, like, Well, I didn't shun away because I was fearful. I shun away because I had a problem with my doctor, and I didn't have a GP for years. I didn't even have an endo for years, so... And looking back, so he is right there. I really think I could have done better. And nowadays, I try to do the best I can. And I don't work at an everyday job, but I keep trying to make people aware. You know, type 2 diabetics, yes, wonderful. And they have their special needs. Hey, but, you know, type 1s are different. And I came out of an era of where type 1s, oh, you can't do that. Oh, you can't do this. But we all know that's garbage. So, work. When you go to work after being diagnosed or you're starting a new job, tell your boss, tell someone else at the office so that if something comes of your condition, you will be able to tell them or let them know. Don't be afraid. You know, if you went to work and people found out you had red hair, that's a part of you. Doesn't matter if you're red hair, black hair, whatever. It's still a part of you. So, don't be afraid of your diabetes. Let people know. Let people know where to get stuff and how to help you treat. Things will go a hell of a lot easier for you. Have a great day. We'll talk later. Bye now.